So I was bored the other day, didn't really have much going on, decided, hey, I'll do what I normally do and go to the bookstore and walk around and probably buy a couple Discworld books. But as I went there, I thought I would play a fun little game. How long would it take me from walking through the doors to find porn? So I pulled up the chapters, walked in, and there it is. Okay, did not even have to look. We're going to talk about hashtag BOOKTOK today, and more specifically, the impact that it has had on publishing. I know you've all seen it. You can't escape BOOKTOK. BOOKTOK, of course, being the book community on TikTok. And BOOKTOK books are essentially books that go viral there. Books that you can look the tag up and just see thousands upon thousands of posts, people gassing it up, and if your book achieves this legendary status, it will then start to be advertised as a BOOKTOK book and show up on displays like these. But you see, because BOOKTOK itself, much like BookTube, is such a general description of a community, the actual variety of books under the BOOKTOK umbrella is very diverse. Just from looking at this table, we see a lot of modern hits, we see some classics there, we got comics and manga, stuff that was super popular 15 years ago that still is. But the one thing that all of these books have in common is that they are massive hits. Becoming a New York Times bestseller, having famous author blurbs on your book, are no longer the thing to strive for as an author. It is this table. This is where you want to be. Oh, what's that? Margaret Atwood wants to put a quote on your book? No. It's all about that recommendation from Abby Parker, who is a big book talker who I just found out. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. Go for that Atwood endorsement. But what I'm getting at is that everyone wants to be on the BOOKTOK table. And what this has caused is a very interesting shift in publishing over the past few years. Obviously, the entire history of this industry is chasing trends, but right now, that trend is BOOKTOK. And by far, the largest target demographic of BOOKTOK stuff is young women, which is why the most popular BOOKTOK books are often romantasy and rom-coms, things consumed overwhelmingly by women. And the manga you do see here, Spy Family, Jujutsu Kaisen, also very popular with girls. There is not to say there are no BOOKTOK books for the guys. I see you there, Archer's Voice. That's just how the demographics trend. Now, in saying this, I will freely admit that most of these books are definitely not for me, and I feel more confident saying that, and that I have actually read a lot of these books. While not extensive, I do feel like I have a bit of an understanding on what most of these books are like. If you enjoy any of these books at all, I'm not here to make fun of you, like what you like, whatever. But I do have some general issues and comments on the way a lot of this stuff is presented. One of the most interesting things I think about the history of publishing have been design trends. And while I think we are in an era where pretty much anything is possible as far as graphic design goes, and you can have your covers look pretty much as beautiful as is possible, I feel like a lot of these books have a lack of unique identity. So many rom-coms just look the same. And I can't really blame the authors for this because, generally how the book looks, how it's marketed, is not up to them. A lot of these stories could be very unique. They could have very strong voices. I can't tell, man, what the heck is this? Not in Love, Happy Place, This Summer Will Be Different, The Burnout, The Fiancé Dilemma, Au Pair Affair, Love Overboard, Attached at the Hip. Those last two were YA books aimed at teenagers. This will be relevant later. These books just don't stand out to me. They all seem to blend together. And the same can be said for a lot of romantasy. You got Gleam, you got Glint, you got Gold, obviously part of the same series, but these all just utilize such similar design elements. Magic Study, Touch of Chaos, Rage and Ruin. I mean, my god, I don't know a thing about Heavenbreaker, but you are absolutely insane if you think that they aren't trying to make their own Fourth Wing here. And the stores knew this too, because obviously it's right next to Fourth Wing. Why is this the case? Well, again, it goes back to chasing trends. Court of Thorns and Roses becomes very popular, so everyone wants to try to emulate that. Not always with the contents of its story, but with its look, with its style, with its synopsis, because that is how readers seek out new stuff. They look for things similar to what they already like. I just wish, it didn't all seem so boring. While a lot of other genres aren't immune to this, I do find it more likely that if you look into like the books I read, you know, the more standard fantasy stuff, horror, while there obviously are design trends and knockoffs, they usually tend to have a bit more visual identity. And it might be because these aren't the books that are selling, you know, millions and millions of copies. I hate to burst your bubble if you thought like the Stormlight Archive was like one of the biggest book series ever or something, just because a lot of the people on YouTube talk about it. Bro, if you put Sanderson up to like Rebecca Yarros or Sarah J. Maas, it'd be looking like the Borderlands movie, okay? It'd be looking like The Crow. And I think, you know, part of the reason why these books become so insanely popular is the psychology of having them sort of all linked together. But I do think it is quite a bit more egregious when you look at the rom-coms for a number of reasons. Of course, the style. It's just all the same minimalist, like semi-realistic cartoon drawings. It's the same colors, it's the same font. I can't tell any of these apart. And having actually read way more of these than I would like to admit, I don't think the content is much better in this regard. All of these books are so full of tropes, and like, people eat them up, people love them, whatever, but the stories are so generic and just follow a strict structure. There's nothing interesting about these, and it really feels like, you know, the author is working with the marketing department to make the hottest hit on BookTok. One could also say the spiciest. If you're a bit out of the loop and you see, you know, spicy BookTok being advertised all the time, and you just see it's a bunch of rom-coms, you're like, oh, cute, okay, they must be spicy, like, ooh, a bit of romance, a bit of kissing. No, if something has the spicy tag, it's porn. Not just the, you know, a bit of romantic tension, not just, you know, the odd sex scene here or there. No, these books are pornography. I mean, I guess not technically because it's just text, but it's like if you went to a random video on Pornhub and like transcribed it in great detail. That's how explicit these books are. And again, I'm not here to judge if people like reading these books. I mean, some of these better ones that I have read, I have, you know, gotten great comedic value out of how absurdly explicit they are. But I just find it really funny how they sort of present themselves as wholesome, cute little rom-coms when they are very far from that. And I also do have a bit of a big moral issue with how a lot of these books and the designs of their covers give off the vibe that they are made for maybe a younger audience. Especially because these styles of books are also found like in YA sections. It just kind of gives me the ick how like you walk right into the store and you have a table full of YA books and an icebreaker right next to it. Because not only would kids look at this and be like, oh, that looks like the cute book I have at home, maybe I'll read this. But the parents probably wouldn't know either. Books generally don't advertise if there is porn in them or not. This isn't like manga where they have an age rating. If you go to the back of Icebreaker, it does not say, hey, this is explicitly a porn book. And yeah, sure, they throw the term spicy around all the time, but if you're out of the loop, you don't know that means porn. And if you want further proof of this, just like go online. Like, there's so many discussions of parents being like, oh, is Icebreaker okay for my 12-year-old? No, not just because it's porn, but because the messages in these books are horrible. And if you're an adult reading these, you can understand that. But my god, if some young, impressionable kid reads Icebreaker, which by the way is one of the worst books I've ever read in my life, I'd be extremely concerned, let me tell you. On another note, when I was scoping out the teen section, I found The Mist and The Body. I have also seen Apt Pupil in there before, all from Stephen King. Maybe The Body, but like the Apt Pupil in the teen set got. And, you know, speaking of Icebreaker, that book was so popular that it seems to have spawned, like, an entire other mini subcategory of BookTok rom-coms that all revolve around hockey. From Lukov with Love, The Game Changer, Canadian Boyfriend, Mr. Hockey, Pucking Around, Pucking Wild, Body Check, and Icebreaker is the only hockey one I've read, you know. But I just got a general hunch that all of these might be the exact same book. I know this stuff probably won't be forever. Design trends are always changing. I doubt hockey smut will always be this popular. You know, as an enjoyer of literature, as someone who's interested in marketing and publishing and all that stuff, this is stuff I understand, but I do not necessarily like. And I am a bit worried that authors and publishers are going to keep chasing these trends to their detriment. Like I already pointed out Crow, Fourth Wing. Like, are you serious with this? Even in like a lot of these books that I have read, like they are also like kind of like tongue-in-cheek, self-aware. They really play up the tropes. There are even references in some stuff I've read to other BookTok books. Like they know what they're doing and it's working. But would it kill you to be a little a little more creative. I don't know, just some advice. I know I'm hardly scratching the surface with like all of the things BookTok has influenced, but I kind of just wanted to get my thoughts out, just stuff that has been, you know, boiling in here for a while. And I do actually want to end on kind of a positive note, because I know BookTok gets a lot of hate. Many popular BookTok books are some of the worst books I have ever read, but there are also BookTok books that I have really enjoyed. So I don't think something being designated a BookTok book should necessarily turn you off from it. I had really low expectations when I first read Ninth House because of this label that was slapped on it. And while I didn't think this book was a masterpiece or anything, it's something I still really enjoyed. Books by Rebecca Kwong are often showing up on these tables, and I really enjoy her work. I've seen John Gwynne there before, believe it or not. Yeah, he's an excellent author. Of course, Chainsaw Man, Spy Family, some of my favorite manga ever. And just in general, I think BookTok as a whole is a net positive for society, because it got more people interested in reading. Many people discovered a love for reading through BookTok. Many people rediscovered it. And for like every 5 garbage books that go viral there's usually one standout gem. And just in general, I think more people reading, the better. Even if you only like to read hockey smut books, you know, go for it, go for it. That is more prose going inside your brain, making you smarter than if you were to watch Too Hot to Handle or something. Am I saying Icebreaker has more value than Too Hot to Handle? Maybe I am. And giving Icebreaker value is not something I ever thought I would say. So folks, next time you walk into a bookstore and you walk past the giant shelf of porn, do not think to yourself, oh God, what has society become? Ignore it and head straight to the Terry Pratchett section, buy yourself a copy of Small Gods, and feel good about yourself knowing that you have better taste than 13-year-olds on the internet. Thank you all for watching. You can leave your thoughts on anything BookTok related in the comments down below. What are some of your favorites BookTok books? If you want to see me read more BookTok books, I'm sure I will be doing that soon with my book club. You can go over and give us a follow. And I'll see you all next time. For I'm not sure, I'm a bit behind on my reading. I'm almost on The Shadow Rising. I'm also making my way through My Hero Academia, and I have another Stephen King book to quickly go through. Videos on all of those will be coming next. I don't know which one will come first, but as Mr. Fourthwing would say, they will come.